This is episode number 3 where I cover a chapter from my book on primary and secondary income. Okay, so we're back for another episode with yours truly, Quamon Fowler, Texas tenor. And you can access these podcasts by going to texastenor.com. That's TEXAS10ER.com. And you can also type in my name and it'll come up as well, QUAMONFOWLER.com. Now, I have been having some good feedback from other musicians who have read my book. And the book is available on the website. Right on the front, you can see the link to the book. And, it's been quite interesting because as I talk with other musicians about some of the things that we typically have to struggle with, in terms of publishing your music and not getting paid much from going through the popular channels. And also, when we talk about actually making money through gigs and getting gigs, one of the things that's very interesting is that I love is really the opportunity that's presented nowadays, because there used to be a time where all of the attention and focus for musicians was to either get a gig and publish a CD, get a CD finished so you could sell CDs, because your CD worked as a business card and it was a way to show that you're a professional and you're an expert. But now, in this day and age, anybody can do a CD, anybody can publish music and put it out on iTunes and look like they're legit and really got their stuff together. But the reality of it is now you spend all of that money and time on doing a CD and you publish it on the popular streaming services, you get a fraction of a penny off of that stream. And so because of that, I started my own stream. I took all of my music from iTunes and Spotify, and it's not available there anymore. You'd have to go to my website, texastenor.com, and click on music, and you'll see the place where it talks about the Texas Tenor music stream. So you'll have to go there to get my music, which is great for me, because now I can offer my own monthly subscription for people to subscribe and access all of my music, and I can update them on the new music that I have coming out every month. Okay, or so. And so, but anyway, one of the things that is key with a lot of this stuff when we go into the world of being self-employed, you have to have your ducks in a row. And what I mean by that, you have to do things in order. And a lot of times when you're young and excited about doing what you see people do who have been doing it for years and years, a lot of times we get things out of sequence, and we want to do the complicated things first. We want to travel and play. We want to do a CD, and a lot of times we'll just dive in, or young aspiring musicians will just dive in, not having any knowledge or experience, of course, of what is really entailed, what's entailed with pursuing a career in music. And so because the way that things are, you can YouTube musicians and songs and see all of these nice videos and and productions and things like that, and then you dive in and you want to do your own video, uh, and you find out that it costs a lot of money, or what ends up happening, you spend money on getting the gear to be able to do it yourself, or you spend money on audio equipment to be able to record at home. See, all of that stuff costs money. So what ends up happening, a lot of times musicians will focus on getting those things immediately, from the gear to wanting to put out something. And you got to hire engineers and people who will do the editing and things for you. So, but the thing about it is, all your money is going into your business. And when you're in business for yourself, when you're first getting started, you need to have a primary source of income. When you're depending on the gigs, you play one gig, might be paying $200-$300. You got to go find another one. It's inconsistent. Some months you'll have, what, 10, 15 gigs or 20. I don't know what type of band you may be in, or if you're doing your own gigs, or or what. But one of the things that's really stressful is when you are depending on a call in order to make your bills. Being able to pay bills with just calls for gigs is highly stressful. It's inconsistent, because sometimes you might have some good months, and then some months you might be a little dry. And but the thing that will help to eliminate all of the stress is getting a job. Where you trade off your time for money, because you're going to have to pay for your housing, you're going to have to pay for food, electricity, internet. All of this stuff is basic stuff that, regardless of you having a gig or not, these bills are going to be there, if you want to function. And so it's just common sense to get a job, so that your job can consistently take care of your immediate financial expenses. Okay, and so that's what I talk about in that chapter, primary and secondary income. I know I've talked with different musicians, and they've told me that they've been in situations where they had to pawn their gear. And you can be playing with a top artist, or famous or notable artist, who has a lot of work and dates lined up. And I've known guys to be all fine and dandy when the gig is happening, when they got tour dates. But if something happens to where that artist decides to change his approach, or change his mind and go in a different direction, and they don't need you anymore, a lot of guys come off that gig, and they don't know what to do with themselves. They go home locally looking for gigs, looking for people to call and letting them know, hey, I'm in town, you can get me on the gig or whatever. But it's just always inconsistent. It's up and down. And you want to have something consistent, especially if you want to have a family, because when it comes to the books, when you want to buy a house, or if you want to buy a car or something like that, they look at your income, and they want to see how much you're making consistently, yearly. They want to know monthly, your last paycheck. But just from personal experience, back when I was doing a lot of running around, ripping and running, playing for different people, and I didn't have a consistent job outside of the church that I was playing with at the time. It was hard, because the only thing that I had to show was the church check, which was consistent, but everything else was just from gigs and stuff like that. But I never knew exactly what it was. And it took some time for me to get this together and really to put this in order. But the order is, you work a job, especially if you're working full time, you can get benefits. And you need the benefits because if you have uh, family, a wife, and kids, you can support them with insurance and being able to go to the doctor, the dentist or something like that. You got that in place to cover that. And I always look at it like this, you got 8 hours that you're supposed to be working. We're all supposed to be working at least 8 hours. Then the other 8 that you have, or 16, I said 8 that you have left. I was about to say 8 that you have left because, the other third of that 24 hours, we're supposed to be sleep. So 1/8 is work. The other 8 is sleep. And then we got 8 more left. And so that's time where we can spend, working our business and spending time with our family, if you have one. If you're single, you got a lot more time to really put in some work. But you're always working for your future. You're working for your tomorrow. You're not. It's not about living in the moment. And what I see a lot of times, a lot of musicians, young guys, they just want to play and travel, and they don't want to have a family, and they stay in the moment. And what happens is your years will get by you, and here it is, you're 30, still single. Of course, you may have a lot of work, you may have a lot of gigs, you're traveling around the world, and everybody knows your name, and everybody respects you, but you don't own any property. You don't have a stable relationship because you're always moving around, and the person you're in a relationship with probably is not feeling comfortable with that because it's really hard when you're always moving around and you're not able to spend time with the person that you're with when you're always gone. But when it's all about you, then that's how it is. And this is stuff that you have to adjust. I'm not saying that you can't travel, but I'm saying you need to set a foundation first and a system in place that is reliable, to where you got your primary source of income that takes care of your bills, your immediate needs, and then all of the gigs and stuff that you would make is just icing on the cake. That's secondary income. And check this out. Once you have it set up like this, you can support your family, and then your music stuff, your gear that you need to buy, and projects that you need to fund, you can fund those projects. And once you're playing gigs, here it is. Check it out. When you play gigs, that's one source of income. When you create products, when you do your own gigs, you can sell your products at your gig, and you want to save your money that you make from your gigs and your products and put it back into your business so that you can expand and create other products and different uh, things that you need, support different supplies and things you need to function in your business. Have some money for marketing and different things like that. See, your business can stand when you have a primary source of income. And so in the book, I talk about that discretionary income, your primary source of income and your discretionary income. I want to give you a passage of scripture that really inspired me with a lot of the ideas that I had started pursuing in order to create these multiple streams of income. Okay, so this is Ecclesiastes chapter 11, and I'm going to go down to, let's see, the 6th verse. Okay, So it says, cast your bread. This is New King James Version. Cast your bread upon the waters, for you will find it after many days. Give a serving to 7 and also to 8, for you do not know what evil will be on the earth. If the clouds are full of rain, they empty themselves upon the earth. And if a tree falls to the south or the north, in the place where the tree falls, there it shall lie. He who observes the wind will not sow, and he who regards the clouds will not reap. As you do not know what is the way of the wind, or how the bones grow in the womb, or her who is with child, so you do not know the works of God who makes everything. In the morning sow your seed, and in the evening do not withhold your hand, for you do not know which will prosper, either this or that, or whether both alike will be good. Okay, so this passage of scripture I ran across some years back, and it really inspired me to pursue these different ideas that I had. So let me give you an example. This is a podcast that I'm doing, and I got ideas to do a podcast really back in 2007 or so. It's 2006 or 2007. I've been doing podcasts since then. Of course, I've changed my brand because I had a company called Core Instrumental Music, and I was doing podcasts back then. But I started doing podcasts. I started doing videos. I was doing putting stuff up on YouTube. Had a membership site. I was doing webinars, and all of these different things, these ideas I started pursuing just because I wanted to create these multiple ways of communicating with people and connecting with an audience. And out of that came opportunities for me to sell lessons, sell more music, and to get more gigs. And so this really thrusted me into something that gave me some momentum. I was able to connect with people, inspire people, and from those things, I was able to reap financially from the business that it created. And so that's one of the things that I wanted to share, because in this passage of scripture it talks about how you want to give a servant to 7 and also to 8 in the second verse. That's 11:2 of Ecclesiastes. It says, for you do not know what evil will be on the earth. Now think about this. What happens when you put your eggs in one basket, as they say, and you're just dependent on a gig? That's the only source of income that you have. And so if you're sick and you can't play, then you can't work. You can't go have money coming in because you're not playing. And so when the thing you got to do, and always would encourage musicians to teach. When I teach or consult other musicians about business and things, I talk about the two different aspects that you have to offer products and services through. And basically that's as a performer, and that's as a teacher. And when I say teacher, it's not just about teaching about the aesthetics of music. You can teach about your experience and being a leader in a particular field. If you are one who has traveled and had the opportunity to travel as a musician, you can teach about traveling and teach about entrepreneurship and being self-employed and how to organize yourself to function as a musician. I think those things are very important because if you just focus on the music, you've conditioned your mind to be in a habit of creating music, and you leave the gap and the space open for the business to be handled totally by someone else. And it makes you a slave. It makes you one who can easily get taken advantage of. And that's what happens a lot of times in the music industry when other people are handling the contract and other people are thinking long term because they know that the artist is not thinking on these terms. They just want to play. They just want to make immediate money. So, they find themselves getting burned and not able to really have anything that's worthwhile or substantial because they weren't in control of the intellectual property that they spent their years working to craft. And that's the thing. You have to understand the business side. You have to read books about leadership, and that's one thing that I do. I'm always listening to podcasts of other internet business experts and also entrepreneurial type of material because I want to learn how to operate and function, as a self-employed or entrepreneur, and so it's all about communication, and it's all about understanding how to facilitate your talents and be able to serve people from the standpoint, the audience of people who want to enjoy your music, whether it be through a product like a MP3 or a streaming service, or whether it be through live in-person performance for an event. And, the other audience of people who want to learn from you, how to connect the dots musically, and also how to connect the dots from the standpoint of organizing their business. These are opportunities that you can have if you set yourself up in a place in a way that you can serve your people in these capacities. And all of these ideas that I'm sharing, this is business. This is how you are able to make extra income to where sooner or later you won't have to rely on the primary source of income being something outside of your craft if you get your business flourishing. Once the business is rolling and operating at the level where you can walk away from your job, that's the goal. You got to get a job, and that's where your foundation is a whole lot secure. You don't have to burn all of the money that you spend because your bills, in terms of your living expenses, are just eating you up, and you can't even move forward with your products and services because you're having to spend your business money on your living, and that's a big problem. So I just wanted to share that, and I hope this was helpful for those musicians out there who are trying to pursue a career in music. You can also get the book, The Christian Musician, Learn What Your Real Gift Is and How to Succeed With and Beyond Your Music, on my website. Once again, you can go to texastenor.com, TEXAS10ER.com, or go to QuamonFowler.com. It points to the same place. And click on The Christian Musician and it will be shipped to you. I've been talking with some people also who've asked about a Kindle book version. So I'm going to start working on that here coming pretty soon. And you'll be able to get that. I'll let you know. Okay, so I did announce too the stream service. The streaming service is also on the website, so you can find it there on the music. And of course, there's tabs on there for lessons if you would like to take lessons with me. And you can do that as well. Okay, so that's all for this episode. I hope it was helpful for you. So stay tuned, and I'll be with you next week. And we'll see you again pretty soon. Peace.